Welcome to the F.L.O.W podcast, fearlessly leading our way. This podcast is a space dedicated to spotlighting the unfiltered voices of Black women in their unique leadership journeys. I am your host, Angela V. Harris. I'm an award-winning coach, speaker, author, and champion for Black women. Make sure you like and subscribe to this podcast to stay connected to our conversations. Let's get ready to flow. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the F.L.O.W podcast. If you're tuning in for the first time, I'm glad you're here. And if you're one of our regulars, welcome back. I am your host, Angela V. Harris. In today's episode, I sit down with Dr. Shanessa Fenner, a distinguished educator and writer whose articles have been featured in local, state, and national publications, including Essence Magazine. She's not afraid to take risks, and in her own words, when opportunity comes knocking, she'll bust that door down, hinges and all. I can't wait for you to hear this conversation. Welcome to the show, Dr. Fenner.
Thank you, Angela. I'm so pleased to be here.
I'm so happy to have you and have this conversation today.
Mm-hmm. Me too. I can't wait. I'm so excited.
Let's dive in.
Okay.
As your bio states, you are truly a multifaceted woman. What inspired you to pursue a career in education?
Well, I've always wanted to be a teacher because educators are in my family. We've got a lot of educators in the family. So I've always wanted to be a teacher. I've always wanted to make sure that I was going to lay the foundation for the babies. And of course, when I was a teacher, I taught first and second grade. And I felt like those were two important grades because, of course, the babies learn how to read in those grades. And of course, you can go ahead and instill those morals and values and those good education skills within them. Go ahead and teach them at a young age the importance of a quality education, how to do your homework every night, how to be that lifelong learner, and how to do your very best. So education is something that I've always known that I wanted to do. Now, as I matriculated through being a teacher, I said to myself, I'd like to try the role of being a principal. So I applied for the North Carolina Principal Fellows Program. Of course, I was accepted. And that's where I began working on my Master of School Administration, which is my second master's. My first master's was the Master's of Elementary Ed, and the second one was the Master's of School Administration. So after that program, I became an assistant principal for 4 years, and then currently I'm a principal, and I've been in education now for a total of 27 years. And as a principal, Angela, you're in charge of the entire school, all of your staff members, all of your babies, all of the parents, all of the teachers, whatever happens, it falls on your shoulders. So I wanted to make sure that I had that great impact on educating our future babies.
That is a huge responsibility. How do you manage it all?
On a wing and a prayer, Angela, and one day at a time, one moment at a time. As a principal, I feel like I am a fireman and I'm constantly putting out fires, but I somehow I found a way to juggle the day-to-day business. And my AP also, she is awesome. She's also a very, very important piece of administration as well. But we managed to juggle it. We make it happen. We're in those classrooms, Angela. We're observing those teachers and we're talking to the babies and encouraging them and everything. And most of the time she's handling the discipline. We're having those parent-teacher conferences and all. But I just somehow have learned through the years how to manage it. And it is something very tough, Angela, to manage.
Mm-hmm. How large is your staff and how many students are in your school?
I have 600 babies and I have a staff of 85.
Wow. That is
And
a lot.
yes, it is. It's a lot. And you've got a lot of different personalities, both from the babies and the adults. A lot of personalities. It's just a lot. But it's something that has always been very meaningful to me. I'm really big on building those meaningful relationships. If you don't have a beautiful relationship with somebody, great things are not going to happen. So not only do I build great relationships, Angela, with my staff members, I also build great relationships with the babies and, of course, their parents. And we work together to bring that village concept back into where it needs to be. See, education nowadays, Angela, is a little bit different from when you and I went to school. Because, of course, when you and I went to school and we got in trouble, when we got home, not only did our mommies and daddies give it to us, but we had neighbors that gave it to us. The teacher may
Yes.
have given it to us. We really, really had the village concept. We don't
Yes.
have the village concept anymore because how dare you nowadays to say something to somebody's child? Okay. But yes, we really, really lived and breathed the village concept.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious, who has been one of your most memorable students?
Wow. Hmm. That was the little girl in one of my schools. I've been principal, Angela, of 4 schools. And there was a little girl in one of my schools. She was in 5th grade, and she was just as sweet as she can be. And one day, a student ran up to the front office and he said, Dr. Fenner, I won't say her name, so and
Mhm.
so can't walk. She's having a lot of difficulty walking. And I said, okay. So I ran to get her and we brought her to the front office and we called her mother. Her mother came and got her. And it just lays on my heart so much. She ended up having cancer, Angela, and
My
she ended up
God.
passing away. Okay.
Oh,
And of course, we raised money, did all we could for mom and the family, but that still plays on my mind when it comes to her. Also, Angela, I've had babies who have committed suicide, that have gone on to middle and high school and committed suicide. Those babies still have a very lasting impact on me because I just wonder what went wrong. And when you went on to middle and high school, what happened, baby, that made you want to take your life? So those are the students who really, really play on my mind. And I just wish there was something that I could have done. I wish there was something that I could have said. I wish I could have known and looked into the future that was going to happen, that was going to transpire. But those are the ones that really, really, really play on my mind because I just want to know, how did things get so bad, baby, that you took your life? You took your life. So those are the ones that really, really lay deep on my heart.
I'm so sorry to hear that. That's definitely heartbreaking.
Mhm. Yes. Mm.
What have been some of the obstacles you've had to encounter as you ascended to your role as principal?
Well, when I first became a principal, as a Black woman, Angela, we have to work twice as hard to have half of what everybody else has. Okay. And as a Black woman, you always feel like you have to constantly prove yourself. Okay. So, of course, I've always been placed in some of the hardest schools that have had low academic scores. I was placed there, of course, to, make sure that the academic growth and the proficiency, goes all the way to the top and moves. And there was one situation, Angela, when I was principal of Alger B. Wilkins Elementary School. Prior to that school, I was principal of Island Drive Middle, and I asked to be moved, and they moved me to Alger B. Wilkins Elementary School. Okay. And the superintendent at that time let me know it was a low performing school. We were in danger of the state taking over the school, and that he expected me, of course, to obtain that high achievement. Okay. So, Angela, I got in, I met with my AP. We devised a plan of action with the teachers and everything. Of course, my AP and we're great believers in intensive small group instruction. Small group instruction, of course, is targeted, it's intensive, and it's strategic, and it's very explicit. So even myself and my assistant principal, we even had a small group of kids to meet with as well. Okay. Normally, Angela, you have the teachers and the instructional coaches who will meet with the babies. But my assistant principal and we decided that, hey, we want to be a part of it as well. Angela, at the end of the year, they took that end of grade test, Angela, and Alger B. Wilkins had some of the highest growth in the entire state of North Carolina. Okay. Now, I'm mentioning this, Angela, because this is what really hurt my feelings. And I'm going to say this today because I'm a very transparent person. It hurt my feelings, Angela, because some of the people that were higher up above me acted like they were upset because we did it. And when I really sat back and thought about it, Angela, I said to myself, Shanessa, they expected you to fail. They didn't
Mm-hmm.
want you to win, baby. They expected you to fail. Now you've done it, and now everybody has lockjaw. Okay. And I mean, we worked really hard. We were in the classrooms every day, pulling students, working with them on the standards, of course, that they were deficient in and not doing well in. And it really, really hurt my heart. And that's when it really opened my eyes. Shanessa, people really say that they want you to do well. But when you do well, they get mad.
Yes.
They don't like that. So, of course, that lit a fire under me to make sure that we always do well. Okay. But see, here's my problem now, Angela. When we don't do well, they're on you and on you and on you. But when you do well, nobody can't give you props. But those are the kinds of things that always plays on my mind. And it really, it does, because I say to myself, wow, they really didn't think you were going to do that, Shanessa, and y'all did it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So getting back to, like I said, having to work twice as hard to prove
Mm-hmm.
yourself,
Yes.
and then you make things happen and no one gives you your props. Nobody wants to talk about it. They want to water it down and, want to try to, oh, it's because of this or because of that. You want to try to make an excuse. But those are the kinds of things, Angela, that lets me know, oh, yes, should I say? You see what you're working up against, baby. Yeah. So those are
Yes.
the kinds of things that give me the strength and the willpower every day to do what I have to do every day, all day.
I feel that. And what you're talking about is like there's a concept called the glass cliff where women are put in leadership positions, but they aren't necessarily set up to fail. They aren't given the proper support, but you proved them wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You knocked it out the park. So I just want to salute you and give you your flowers. And I just admire your determination and your will for your students.
Thank you. Thank you, Angela. Thank you.
So how do you balance your various roles and responsibilities from being a principal and being a writer for numerous publications?
Okay, this is how I do this. Monday through Friday, I am a principal. I'm dedicated. I give my all to everybody at that school. But my weekends, Angela, that's Shanessa's time. Okay. On the weekends, I write anywhere from 1 to 5 articles. I take my naps. I listen to my music because I love music. I'm a former radio personality.
Mm-hmm.
And I listen to my music, Angela. I write my articles. Like this past weekend, for example, I wrote 3 articles. And I just, space out my time. I take my naps. I eat some good food. I'll watch a little TV, listen to my music. Writing is what takes me off to another place. I know you've heard how people can say they read a book, Angela, and they can just get so captured and captivated by it, and they're in another place. Well, Angela, that's what writing does for me. When I write, it takes me to another place. I'm able to, I'm very good with words. I call myself the woman of letters. Okay. I'm very good with words, very good with phrases, very good with putting together. And it can be kind of hard because sometimes on the weekend, Angela, I am dog dirt tired, but I know those editors are looking for those articles. I've already done the interviews of the celebrities or whoever that I've interviewed, and all I have to do now is put it on paper. So that is what I do. And I have managed, Angela, through the years to really manage each moment of the weekend. The weekend, I also have to do a little cleaning and do my laundry, and I may even have to run out and go do a few errands. But I've learned to schedule that routine and to make things happen. And I've also learned to put things on a big calendar to see when something is due, to know when to start pacing myself to write it. Now, I'm not the kind of writer who waits to the last minute to do something. Okay. Like this weekend, the articles that I worked on, they're not due right now. They're due in a couple of weeks. but I went ahead and wrote them because what I like to do, Angela, within the next couple of weeks, I like to go back and reread them and kind of do my editing. I said, I don't like this adjective. Let me change it to this. I don't like this phrase. I'm going to use this instead. So I like to write it, but then the next couple of weeks, I like to go back and tweak it and fine tune it. So I've learned also how to manage and, stagger my time for that as well. Mm-hmm. But I do a lot. I write for 17 local, state, and national magazines. Wow. Some of the magazines publish weekly, some bi-monthly, some quarterly. I've got to keep all of that in my head as well. I've got editors writing me, Shanessa, can you do this on this? Or can you do this on that? Or, we need a piece on Black history, which I sent the Black history piece to you the other day. And got a lot of great compliments about that one. But, so those are the kinds of things, and that's how I manage my time. And it hasn't been easy, Angela, but I've somehow managed to now fine tune it and get it right.
For anyone who's curious, how does one get started writing for publications?
Okay. What you do, the first thing you do, Angela, and I tell anybody this, in order to be a good writer, you have to read a lot. Okay. So I'm the kind of person, I love books. Okay. So you have to read and see how people write and different things of that nature. Okay. Then the next thing you have to do is you have to start writing. Okay. Now, one of the first publications that I reached out to, I sent a nice email to the editor. Of course, I looked in the magazine. I found out who the editor was, and I sent a nice letter. I said, hi, I'm Dr. Shanessa Fenner, and I would love to get an opportunity to become a contributing writer for your publication. Okay. Now, so happened, I had some writing samples for them that had already been published because a friend of mine had his own magazine that I was already writing for. So I sent the editor those published articles, and the editor said, great, we'd love to have you. So from there, they started giving me various assignments, and I started writing. And of course, the more you write, the better you become. The better you become with those words. Also, I'm a nerd, Angela. I'm the kind of person that used to study the dictionary and study the thesaurus. Okay. So when you do that, you have all these words in your brain, okay, that you've studied. So I just, know how to pull them out and know how to put it together and put it on paper, So, and that's how you do it. And through the years, you start reaching out to more publications. The editors, you start pitching articles and pitching ideas. And then you look up one day and you're writing for 17 different publications. And each editor, of course, is different. Each magazine is different writing styles and all. So just imagine when I'm writing, I have to say, okay, I'm writing for blah, blah, blah right now. So their writing style is more like this. So I have to sit and write it like that. And then the next article is for blah, blah, blah. Their writing style is like this. So I have to type it like this. So you've got all this stuff going on in your head about who wants what and what kind of writing style and format that they have. But once again, it takes practice. And I've been doing this for years now, Angela. So it's like now I'm like a well-oiled machine with it.
So takeaway, pitch yourself and just start writing.
Yes. You have to first, though, be a good read. You have to read a lot. Okay. Because see, the reading, Angela, is what gets you knowledgeable and aware of how other people write and how writing goes. And then of course, you start to formulate your own writing style as well. Everybody has their own little niche to the way they write and do things. And everybody has their own little writing style. So you've got to continue to read various things to kind of get a feel and get exposure to how things are written. And then after that, you have to write and continue writing, continue practicing. I promise you, your first writing piece, it may be crappy. Okay. But eventually, a couple years on down the road, polished like diamonds, okay? But you've got to keep writing. That's the only way you're going to get better is to keep writing and keep writing and keep writing, and just to better yourself. It takes time.
Makes sense. Mm-hmm. Well, I know you've had the opportunity to interview influential figures like Congressman John Lewis and Nikki Giovanni. Can you share some memorable moments or insights from those interviews?
Yes. I think it was back in, I don't know what year it was. It's been so long now, Angela. But Fayetteville State University, of course, is one of the University is where I obtained 3 of my degrees, because my first degree came from North Carolina Central, and then the next 3 from Fayetteville State University. So, of course, at Fayetteville State University at the time, our chancellor was Chancellor James Anderson. Okay. And Dr. Anderson and I were really, really good friends. Okay. Dr. Anderson is the kind of person I can talk to Dr. Anderson. He's very blunt like I am. I'm very blunt, and we can just stand somewhere and talk for hours. Okay. And we get each other. We understood each other in our language and everything. Um, and one day my cell phone rang and I said, hello. He said, Shanessa, this is James. I said, hey, James, what's going on? He said, Congressman John Lewis is coming to Fayetteville State. I know you have a TV show which you tape on our campus. Would you like to interview him? I said, yes, yes, yes. Tell me when, sister, gonna be there. Okay. So, girl, I was so happy. I came home that evening, Angela. I put all my questions down. Okay. Okay. All my questions, baby. I put them down. Okay. Because that's just how I am. I'm a forward thinker. I said, oh, yeah. I want to ask him about Bloody Sunday. I want to ask him this about racism. I want to ask him, why do white people hate us so much? I mean, girl, you name it. Sister I had a long, like 17 questions. Okay. So anyway, James set it up. Hey, I'm there. I'm sitting there ready. I got the mic on, the lights are on me and everything. I'm sitting there waiting. He walks in. I jump up, shake his hand and everything. It's like, I'm John. I'm like, I'm Shanessa. I said, you ready? He said, yeah, I'm ready. He sat down, and Angela, for the next 30 minutes, it was fire. You hear me? It was fire. We talked about everything from Bloody Sunday to racism, the state of Black America, our young Black males. I mean, you name it, we talked about it, and it was phenomenal. Phenomenal. Okay. And Nikki Giovanni, let me tell you about her. I love her to death. She has always been one of my favorites, very, very strong, powerful Black woman. I interviewed her for Consciousness magazine, which is a magazine out of Chicago. My homeboy, that's his magazine. And when I interviewed her, she was in her kitchen frying chicken. Okay, I heard the chicken. I said, "What you doing?" She said, "Frying chicken." I said, okay, I said, we're gonna talk while you frying chicken. So anyway, we started talking, and talking to her is like a history lesson. Okay. We were talking about racism, and she was talking about, and I'll send you the link to that as well. She was talking about how the policemen have turned in. No, she was talking about how, I'm trying to think, how did she say it? In other words, she was basically saying that, now the people we have to watch for, they've got on the police uniforms and the judges' robes, and those are the ones that we need to be careful. I mean, she just was so eloquent when she spoke it and said it. She just put it out there, and I love it. I love listening to her because it was like a history lesson, but it was just so fascinating to me to hear her just talk about everything that was going on, the state of Black America. She was talking about her latest book that she was writing, but she just laid it out there about what was going on and everything, so it was like wonderful. I said, this is just amazing. And before we hung up, I had her to give me some writing tips. I said, hey, I'm a writer, can you give me some tips and all? She said, sure. So she shared some tips and everything with me and everything, but she was phenomenal. Other people who I've interviewed that I just thought were just so amazing. My favorite entertainer is Babyface. I got a chance to interview Babyface, and we had a great conversation about his new album and everything. And I asked him, I said, now, if you were not a singer, what would you be? And he said that he would be in education. I said, okay, wow. It kind of blew my mind. I was like, oh, I'm in education, so that was very neat when he said that. I've interviewed, let's see who else I've interviewed. I've interviewed singers like Melissa Morgan. She's just as sweet as she can be. I've interviewed some of the Tyler Perry actors. I've interviewed a couple of them. I've interviewed one of the Atlanta Housewives. I mean, you name it. I've interviewed a lot of people. I've interviewed a lot of designers, financial literacy experts, business people, people that have, of course, their own products and their own spas and all kinds of, you name it, they've got it. But Maya Angelou. Tell about Maya Angelou. I've also interviewed Maya Angelou and Iyanla Vanzant. Maya Angelou, I love her so much. She lived up the street in Winston-Salem. I'm in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and she lived in Winston-Salem. So I called her. We talked for about 30 minutes, and she was in her rose garden when we interviewed. I said, "What are you
Wow.
doing this morning?" She said, "I'm in my rose garden." I said, "Okay." I said, "I bet they're so beautiful." So we were talking and everything. She had just released a brand new book. And I remember in her book, because she's very comical, in her book, she was talking about the first time she had sex, right? So, I asked her about it, because she had it in the book. So I'm going to ask about it. I'm not one of those people that, oh, it's so taboo, I can't talk about it. No, it's in her book, and I'm going to ask you about it. Okay. So anyway, in her book, she's talking about how she thought the first time that she, had sex, she was going to see stars and ribbons and, just all kinds of stuff. And when I asked her about it, she told me, she said, "I thought I was going to see this and this and that." She said, "I was so disappointed," but I just bust out laughing. But I mean, from there, the conversation just led to other things, but she was phenomenal. I miss her so much. She is wonderful. And so we just had a great, it was like I was talking to an auntie when we were talking at all. She was just so hilarious. And I'm trying to think who else that I talked to that I just thought was just so awesome. Ayan Levanzant. I love talking to her as well. And I asked her about the strength of the Black woman and why I think at the time it was 70% of Black women were single. Okay. And I wanted
Wow.
to talk with her about that. Yeah. And she was just talking about how we're so strong and, we've had to, take care of ourselves and basically the way I sum it up, in other words, we've had to take on the responsibility like of being a man by being independent and taking care of ourselves. Basically, is what I summed it up to be. So we had a long conversation about that. We talked about fatherless daughters and different things of that nature, Black American all. So that was a very enlightening conversation with me as well. But one thing that I've done, Angela, and I want to share this with anybody who's listening to me, who's a writer or something, I have kept the name, phone number, and email address of everybody, Angela, that I've interviewed. Okay. And let me tell you why. As a principal, we sometimes have fundraisers or have county fundraisers and things that happen. So what I like to do is I keep everybody's name and phone number. And when there's this big, gigantic fundraiser, like the leukemia fundraiser and all, I start reaching out to them. I say, "Hey, this is Shanessa Fenner. You remember? Oh, yeah, you wrote that article." That's the first thing. Because, see, most of the time, Angela, if you've written an article on somebody, they've gone and had it framed, it's on their wall. So when you call and say, "Hey, it's Dr. Fenner," they look up there, written by Dr. Fenner. "Hey, remember me?" Well, hey, I don't know if I told you, but I'm a principal, and right now we have the da 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 da. Can you send a donation? Okay. So those are the kinds of relationships and meaningful connections that have helped me along the way. Because one year we had a fundraiser and I got first place, because I reached out to everybody who I'd ever.
Why am
Yeah.
I not surprised?
And when I told them, "Hey, it's Shanessa," they remember who I was. So yeah. So that's something about building those relationships and making sure they're meaningful and having that lasting impression, even though it's nothing but an interview. They remember who you are. And hey, this woman showcased and highlighted me in an interview, and I remember that name. Oh yeah.
You have quite the Rolodex.
Oh yes. It's very, very large, Angela. Very large. Mm-hmm.
Who's on your wish list to interview?
I would like to interview Tyler Perry, Oprah Winfrey,
Yes.
Taraji,
Yes. Yes.
Barack and Michelle Obama.
Yes. All
Mm-hmm.
of that.
Mm-hmm. Yes, those are my top picks. Yes. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yep.
I wish that for you.
Hey, I'm going to speak it into existence, Angela.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know you have a girls group called Dr. Fenner's Young Women of Distinction. What
Yes.
inspired you to create this program, and what impact have you seen it have on the young women involved?
Well, our young girls they sometimes don't feel good about themselves, especially our young Black females, Angela.
Mhm.
And I just want to make sure that all of them feel good about themselves. We do things like a vision board, have speakers to come in and speak with them,
Mhm.
have someone to come in and show them how to do their hair, visit colleges. get online and research colleges and see what college they like to go to and what's the criteria and what courses you'd have to take. See, you're never too young to expose them. I make sure that my fourth and fifth grade babies go visit Methodist University or Fayetteville State University. They go visit. We have them to eat in the actual cafeteria, which is buffet style and things of that nature. I'm always trying to expose them, Angela, because my babies come from low socioeconomic backgrounds. Okay. So I'm always telling them, Dr. Fenner wants you to go to college and at least obtain that bachelor's degree or go into the military. I want you to be independent. I don't want you to live from hand to mouth, which is check to check. Okay. So those are the kinds of things that I'm always exposing them to. I had one baby that thought that everybody had an EBT food stamp card. Okay. So I had to sit her down, Angela, and let her know Dr. Fenner don't have no EBT food stamp card. Dr. Fenner has never had an EBT food stamp card. Dr. Fenner went to college, got an education, continued with all her degrees. I have a salary. Dr. Fenner has never had an EBT food stamp card, So those are the kinds of misconceptions that I want to get out of my babies' heads, because my babies thinks that everybody has, they would think that you have an EBT card too, Miss Angela. So, you have to kind of tell them there's a different way of life, baby. And I'm going to show you and tell you what this different life is about. Okay. But see, that comes from that exposure, yes. If that's all that's all Angela. So it's up to me and my teachers to make sure that they know, okay, Dr. Fenner graduated from high school at 17, went straight to North Carolina Central University, got her bachelor degree, became a teacher. The second semester of her being a teacher, she started on her first master's degree. After she finished that one, she applied for the North Carolina Principal Fellow, started her second master's degree. After that, she started as an assistant principal. She started on her doctorate degree. Okay. She got that terminal degree, the final one, the doctorate. Okay. Dr. Fenner has been a teacher, has been an assistant principal, has been a principal. Dr. Fenner has never had an EBT food stamp card. Dr. Fenner's had to manage her money. Okay. Right now, I have a bank come in every month, PNC Bank, and they speak with all kindergarten through fifth graders about financial literacy. Talk about having a bank account, savings account, how to manage your money. I want them to go ahead now and learn that at an early age. You don't get all this money and then you just blow it. You have to budget it. So we've partnered with PNC Bank to come in, one of our partners, to teach our babies about financial literacy and what it looks like. So those are the kinds of things that I not only expose my girls to, all of them about, because all of my babies need it.
You are doing incredible work, and that's definitely much needed work, especially for our younger generation.
Thank you. Thank you.
What advice would you offer to other women aspiring to pursue multiple passions and carve out their own path in various industries?
I would tell them to go for it. And I would tell them to not let anybody talk them out of it. Sometimes, Angela, people think that you're supposed to do only one thing and stay in this box. I'm never going to let anybody, Angela, put me in a box. Okay. And I'm going to give you an example. One of my friends, she's a retired teacher, and she was telling me one weekend that she was talking to a friend of hers, and she said, oh yeah, Shanessa interviewed this celebrity and blah, blah, blah. And she said that her friend said, why is Shanessa doing that? She's a principal. And my homegirl said, she can do more than one thing, But see, that's that mentality. You think I'm supposed to only be a principal. You're supposed to put me in that little box. And that's the only thing I'm supposed to do. And then if something happens, I don't have anything to fall back on. No, Shanessa doesn't think that way. Okay. Shanessa's got TV, radio, writing, acting, and the list goes on. Adjunct professor. I'm a licensed Prime America insurance agent. No, Shanessa's got about 7 or 8 irons in the fire. Okay. No, you're not going to put me in a box and have me pigeonholed. No. So anybody who's listening to me, you want to do more than one thing. You want to be multifaceted. Don't be afraid to try. I think about, Angela, how I got into TV and radio. I'm going to give you an example if you got time. One Saturday, I was at the car wash getting my car washed, and my cell phone rang, and it was Ray Thomas. I said, hello. He said, hey, Shanessa, this is Ray. I said, what's up, Ray? And he said, I want to talk to you. I said, what's going on? He said, I'm getting ready to become the program director at KISS 107.7 FM. I said, okay. He said, I'd like to have you come on and I'll have Taylor Morgan to train you. The show will be Taylor Morgan featuring Shanessa Fenner. And the goal is to have Taylor to train you, Shanessa, because I want you to have your own show. I said, cool, I'm down. So immediately I began going in. Taylor trained me how to do the board. Hey, they started doing the promos. And I love the way they would whisper it. They would go, it's the Taylor Morgan Show featuring Shanessa Fenner. It was so cute. I love it. And I love the guy, the voice guy. His voice was amazing. So then pretty much after a while, hey, here comes Real Talk with Dr. Shanessa Fenner. Okay. Because I'm ready now, baby. I've been trained. Okay. That's how I got into radio, Angela. Let me tell you how I got into TV. When I was working on my master's degree, I had a professor named Dr. Earl Hill. God rest his soul, because he's passed. And he asked me to stay after class one evening. And I said, okay. And he said, Shanessa, now what I want to talk to you about has nothing to do with this class. I want to ask you something. I said, go ahead, Dr. Hill, I'm listening. He said, I have a show on cable channel 7 called In the Doctor's Office. I'd like for you to be the host. I said, let me think about it. I went home about a week or so, came back and told him, hey, I'm down. Started being the host of his show called In the Doctor's Office. One evening after I taped, the producer comes out. Her name is Sherry. And she goes, Shanessa. I said, yeah. You want your own show? Yeah. That's how I got my own TV show. Okay. But what I'm trying to say to you, Angela, is that if I had been the kind of person that was a scaredy chicken or so afraid of what other people gonna say, because see, Angela, people always gonna flap off at the mouth, okay? They're gonna flap, 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 okay? That's fine. Let them flap, boo. Flap, 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 and keep flapping, my love. Keep flapping while I keep doing, okay? So you have to be that kind of person that's willing to take a risk, because if you don't, you'll never find out or learn the good things you can do. Okay. So I just want to give you the examples of how when opportunities come knocking, baby, Shanessa Fenner bust that door slam down. You hear me? Hinges and all. Okay. Yeah, that part. In that
Love
order.
it.
In that order. Okay.
I want to shift gears. I know you wrote a recent Black History Month article for Upscale magazine. And in the article, you talk about the importance of Black children knowing their history. We're living in a time where certain books are being banned and history is being erased or rewritten. How are you handling this within your school?
Well, of course, we have Black history stories and all in the books. I walked in the classroom the other day. They were reading Rosa Parks' story. I think not too long ago, I walked in another classroom. They were doing one on Martin Luther King. But only certain stories, of course, are in the books and all. Mm-hmm. And of course, my teachers do talk with them about Black history. Lately on my morning announcements, I've been reading Black history facts as well. Okay. But see, here's my thing, Angela. Learning begins at home. Okay. I think about Black history and when my grandmother and great grandmother used to sit me down and have a conversation with me. I remember when my grandmother and my great grandmother used to tell me, because they lived in Fremont, North Carolina. Okay. It's a little country town, Fremont, North Carolina. And they were telling me that when they were younger, they would have to go, when they would go get a hot dog, they could never go inside to get the hot dog, Angela. They had to go outside to the window and the man would have to hand them the hot dog in the window. Okay. Now, me being a young person with a smart mouth, because I've always had a smart mouth, I was thinking to myself, I wouldn't even want that hot dog. You can keep that hot dog. Okay. I'll go home and fix my own hot dog. Okay. But just the fact that you can't go in and get the hot dog and got to go stand at the window and get the hot dog, I wouldn't even be hungry. I go home and fix me something else. Okay. But those are the kinds of things, that they would sit and talk with me about, which leads to Black history. Black history needs to be taught at home. We need our mothers, our fathers, our grandmothers and great grandmothers to teach us these things. We also need to make sure our babies look at these movies, Teal and different things of that nature, Roots and Queen,
Yeah.
of
They
course,
anymore. I remember
when you look at,
as a child, Roots came on like every single year.
yes, yes, yes. And I messed around, Angela, not too long ago and watched 12 Years a Slave. And I was mad for like 2 weeks. Okay. Yeah. Sister was mad for 2 weeks. Yeah. And I was talking to somebody one day. I said, I've been mad for 2 weeks. What did you watch? 12 Years a Slave. Okay. But see, we have to face that. That can't be erased. You can't wash that up, baby, and make that look pretty. Okay. It is what it is. Okay. But see, learning begins at home. Now, in the article I wrote, which I found it was very interesting, I talked about how Carter G. Woodson started, Black History Week. Was very surprised, Angela. Do you know people came up to me and they didn't know that Carter G. Woodson started Black History Week? I mean, older people. Yeah, So see, those are the kinds of things that I'm talking about. Learning begins at home, and we need to teach our babies things of this nature. They need to know their history, and it needs to be told correctly and not change to suit and make somebody look like a hero when they weren't a hero. Okay. And it needs to be told right. You need the grandmama, the great grandmama, the civil rights leader. They'll tell you. They'll tell you what it was like. John Lewis said on the show, told me about Bloody Sunday. Okay. Our little Black kids need to know about Bloody Sunday. They need to know about the dogs and the bats and the different things and the fire hoses and the water and everything and the beatings and everything. It needs to be told correctly. Okay. So yeah, learning begins at home. So I'm a firm believer. Your grandmamas and your great grandmamas need to tell you, because it's going to be told to you right, Angela, and they're going to give you explicit details. Okay. Also, something that that I feel like I need to talk about too. Our young Black males need to know what to do if they're approached by the police. Okay. That's every conversation that I think we need to have with our young Black males. They need to know what to do with your hands, what to do with everything. Don't even move. Stand there like a mannequin, okay? Because we want you to survive and get home safely. So those conversations need to have happened. I've got several Black females who have males, and they've sat down and had conversations with their sons as well. I've also been a part of those conversations to talk about what to do if the police stops you, okay? See, that's why I say learning begins at home. Those are the things we need to teach our babies, okay? We also need to teach our babies, Angela, our Black males and our Black females, how to love themselves, love the skin that they're in, okay? I talk about in the article, I am unapologetically Black, okay? And I started off, I love being a Black woman. No man, no woman, no history book, no judge or jury is going to make me change my mind. Okay. I love being a Black woman. Okay. And we need to make sure that they love the skin that they're in. Angela, I'm so sick of this colorism stuff. Okay. It doesn't matter if you're mocha, if you're cappuccino, if you mahogany, caramel, we all mark Black on that job application. Okay. Okay. It doesn't say on the job application, check here if you caramel, if you mocha, if you light skin, if you deep mahogany, if you cappuccino. No, everybody marks Black on that application. I'm so sick of this colorism stuff. We're Black, baby. BLACK, Black. Okay. It's ridiculous. It doesn't make sense for our race to talk about color. Angela, we have enough problems already as it is. Okay. But to talk about colorism, it's ridiculous. We're all Black, baby. What difference does it make? We Black, doesn't matter what skin tone you are. We're Black, sweetie. Mm-hmm. And I know they take it back to the day where there was the paper bag test. Remember the paper bag test, Angela?
I've heard about that.
They put up a brown paper bag back in the day. See, this is the history. See, that's the kind of stuff I was taught by my grandparents. There was the brown paper bag test, okay? If you were the same color as the brown paper bag, you could go to this place or be a part of this. But if you were darker, no, you couldn't. I mean, just crazy stuff, Angela. Really, y'all? We're all Black. What difference does it make? Just ridiculous. I even did an article one time on that, talked about the different tests that they had, and then there was one situation where they had painted a wall, different shades of brown. So your color had to fall into one of the colors that was on the wall. I was like, really, y'all? It's ridiculous. We have enough stuff as a race to go through. than to worry about somebody's skin tone. What we need to worry about is how we're going to create a united front, and how the
Yeah.
black family has become dismantled, and how we need to get it back together and raise these babies. Okay, that's what we need to do. Okay. So yeah. So anyway, in the article, Angela, I'm preaching Shanessa style. You know, I even talk about our hair, the beauty of our hair. I talk about how we wear bantu knots and silk blowouts and box braids, you know, to express our beauty and authenticity. You know, we're beautiful, beautiful people. Don't ever let anybody tell you different, baby. You got it going on. Black is beautiful. I don't care what shade you are. Black is beautiful, baby. You know, and those are the things I talk about. We have to teach our babies to be proud of their legacy. Learn your rich history. You know, learn who you are, who your ancestors are. Talk about what the ancestors had to go through. They'd have to sneak and learn how to read. And now you can learn for free and don't even want to learn how to read. You know,
Right.
those are the kinds of things I'm talking. Oh yeah, I'm preaching right now. Nessa's preaching. I don't mind preaching, baby. I don't mind, because I know God got my back. Okay. And I know what I'm saying is truth. Truth crushed, the earth shall rise again. Okay. So what I'm saying is that we need to teach our babies to love themselves, about their rich history, about their heritage, to get as much education as they can to become that lifelong learner. Be all you could be, baby, because your membership, it does matter. Okay.
Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, before we wrap up, I have a couple of final questions before we end our conversation. I'm curious, if you weren't an educator, what would you be doing?
I'd be doing full-time media and radio.
Okay.
I love TV and I love radio, and I will be doing that full-time. Mm-hmm. Yep. Which is
I know
also
you're
both of my side gigs, but I would be doing it full-time. Yeah.
okay. Okay. I was thinking, you have so many, so how would you pick just one?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Angela, I will find a way to get it all done, girl.
Well, I know you're a busy woman, but what do you do to recharge when you aren't fearlessly leading?
Take a nap. I love to sleep. When I lay down at night, Angela, I'm sleeping 5.2 seconds. Okay. I've never been an insomniac. I don't know what it feels like to be an insomniac. I know how it feels to sleep your guts out because I sleep all the time. Okay.
Great.
I'm the kind of person, I don't wake up in the middle of the night unless I have to use the bathroom, but I sleep until that alarm goes off, and I pop up like a jack in the box. Shower and brush my teeth and wash my face, do my hair and makeup, and run out of here on roller skates. But yeah, my favorite thing is to take naps. I'm your girl when it comes to taking naps. I'm the nap queen.
That's good because rest is very important.
Yes.
Well, Dr. Fenner, thank you so much for sharing your insights with us today. How can our listeners stay connected with you?
Well, I'm on LinkedIn, Angela, at Dr. Shanessa Fenner, and I'm on Twitter at Shanessa F. And you can also Google me, Dr. Shanessa Fenner, and all of my stuff comes up. You can also put in Shanessa Fenner Muckrack, Muckrack, and all the articles, all the everything, all of that stuff pops up, baby. All of it.
Okay, well, I'll make sure we have all that information included in the show notes for our listeners.
Thank you.
Well, that's all for today's episode. Until next time, goodbye, everyone. Hey, listeners, it's your host, Angela V. Harris. I'm excited to share my new VIP Day experience. If you're ready to reconnect with your true self and gain clarity on your future, my exclusive VIP Day is designed to help you craft a clear vision of your future, release what's holding you back, and achieve more in your career and life. In this transformative experience, you'll embark on a journey of self-discovery and personal growth with expert guidance from me as your coach. If you're ready to take the next step and learn more, I invite you to visit bit.ly/Angela VIP Day. Spots are limited, so don't wait. Thank you for listening to the F.L.O.W podcast. As we wrap up today's episode, always remember your unique path, your voice, and your leadership matter. If you loved what you heard, subscribe now to stay updated on our latest episodes. Take a moment to leave a review and share this episode with someone who can benefit from these conversations. You can stay connected with me on Instagram at the F.L.O.W Podcast with Angela, or visit me on the web at angelavharris.com. Until next time, take care, stay inspired, and keep fearlessly leading in your own way.